My parents canceled every Thanksgiving for 18 years to grieve a brother I never met, and my fiancé finally exposed the lie underneath it. My earliest memories of November feel wrong in a way I couldn't name until I was grown. No turkey, no table set for guests, just my mother staring at the wall, and my father moving through the house like sound itself might break her. When I was 6, I asked why we never celebrated like other families, and she grabbed my wrist hard enough that I still remember the shape of her fingers. Your brother died before you were born. Don't make this month harder than it already is. I didn't understand what I'd done, only that I'd hurt her, so I stopped asking. At 7, I made a paper turkey at school, and my father tossed it in the trash without looking at it. I pulled it out that night and hid it in my closet like something illegal. At 9, I mentioned it was almost my birthday, which fell the same week, and my mother said, "I know," without turning from the sink. At 11, I won a small trophy at a school event and brought it home excited, and she burst into tears asking why I always tried to hurt her on purpose. I threw it away myself after that and stopped bringing anything home at all. I told friends my birthday was in April because the truth took too much explaining. At 13, I asked my father for just a small cake, and he squeezed my shoulder and said he couldn't do that to my mother. At 16, I went to a friend's Thanksgiving dinner anyway, and my mother didn't speak to me for 8 days before finally calling me the most selfish thing she'd ever raised. At 18, I moved out and stopped coming home in November entirely. They never once called me on my birthday in the years that followed. I met my fiancé, Marcus, 2 years ago. He noticed almost immediately that something happened to me every fall. I'd go quiet, flinch at holiday planning, make excuses. Eventually, I told him everything. Every year since, I've watched him get angrier as November approaches and my parents stay silent. This year, he snapped. On the morning of my birthday, he looked at me and said, "We're going over there, and they're going to say happy birthday to you today if I have to sit at that table until midnight." I told him it wasn't worth it, that they'd never change, that I'd made peace with who they were. He was already getting his keys. My parents went pale when they opened the door. My mother said it wasn't a good time. Marcus walked past her anyway. We sat at the table pushing around cold food until Marcus set his fork down and said today was exactly the day to talk about this. My father sighed like a man exhausted by a conversation he'd had 100 times. November is hard for her. You know that. Marcus nodded slowly, then asked what hospital my brother had been born in. My mother's face tightened. "We don't discuss this." "That's fine," Marcus said, "because I already spoke with your sister last month. She told me the story your family always told was that the baby was born in June and died 3 weeks later, not November. He never saw a single November. Nobody moved. My mother recovered first, something about grief refusing to follow a calendar, but I was staring at her, watching 18 stolen birthdays rearrange themselves into something else entirely. I asked her what June had to do with any of this. Her eyes went cold. "You don't get to talk about him." Marcus leaned in. "Then what exactly are we protecting?" My father tried to calm the room, but my mother cut him off, voice cracking. "This is your fault. You're the one who insisted we keep pretending after everyone already believed it." I asked what that meant. Nobody answered right away. My hands had gone numb by the time I asked it plainly. Was there ever a baby at all? My mother's shoulders caved. Everyone knew we were expecting. I had to tell people something when we came home from the agency with nothing. It was easier to say we'd lost him than admit the adoption fell through. I had one last question. I asked if she'd ever actually wanted me, or if I'd just been the next attempt at fixing what she couldn't explain to anyone. She looked at me like I was something unpleasant she'd stepped in. I wasn't ready either time. "You think I wanted any of this?" I took Marcus's hand and walked out. 18 Novembers finally making sense, all at once, for the first time in my life.